right, mediocre white men getting smacked down by sisters. That's what Fani Willis, the Fulton County DA, did. She basically told Congressman Jim Jordan of Ohio to kiss her ass. Last month, the chair of the Judiciary Committee, Jordan, informed Willis by letter he was launching an investigation into whether she coordinated with federal officials for the Trump indictment. You know, he's been kissing Trump's ass so much, he probably has a brown face. Now, here are a few excerpts of Willis's 9-page letter response to Jordan's request for documents. Quote, "As you know, Chairman Jordan, the congressional power of inquiry is not unlimited." She then cites Watkins versus the United States. "Congress is not a law enforcement or trial agency. That function is reserved only for the executive and judicial departments of the government." She then said, "Your letter offends each and every one of these settled principles. Its obvious purpose is to obstruct a Georgia criminal proceeding and to advance outrageous partisan misrepresentations. As I make clear below, there is no justification in the Constitution of Congress to interfere with a state criminal matter as you attempt to do." She then said, "The demands in your letter and your efforts at intruding upon the state of Georgia's criminal authority violate constitutional principles of federalism. Criminal prosecutions under state law are primarily the responsibility of state governments. Congress's lawful prerogative to interfere with states' administration of their criminal laws is extremely limited." She then said, "Your attempt to invoke congressional authority to intrude upon and interfere with an active criminal case in Georgia is flagrantly at odds with the Constitution. The defendants in this case have been charged under state law with committing state crimes. There's absolutely no support for Congress purporting to second guess or somehow supervise an ongoing Georgia criminal investigation and prosecution." Ooh, this she said, "Chairman Jordan, I tell people often, deal with reality or reality will deal with you. It's time that you deal with some basic realities. A special purpose grand jury made up of everyday citizens investigated for 10 months and made recommendations to me. A further reality is that a grand jury of completely different Fulton County citizens found probable cause against the defendant named in the indictment for RICO violations and other felonies. Face this reality, Chairman Jordan. The select group of defendants who you fret over in my jurisdiction are like every other defendant, entitled to no worse or better treatment than any other American citizen." Oh, she wasn't done. "As it seems you have a personal interest in the Fulton County District Attorney's Office, you should consider directing the U.S. DOJ to investigate the racist threats that have come to my staff and me because of this investigation. For your information, I'm attaching 10 examples of threats this office has received. See Exhibits F through O. I'm providing these examples to give you a window into what has happened to my staff and me as I keep the promise of my oath of the United States and the Georgia constitutions and do not allow myself to be bullied and threatened by members of Congress, local elected officials, or others who believe Lady Justice should not be blind and that America has different laws for different citizens." That right there is a pimp slap, Lauren.
Yeah, it sure is. It's the sort of idea that a lot of these congressional Republicans have, that they somehow can enter into any conversation about anything and have the authority to somehow rule over everybody else, even when they have absolutely no jurisdiction and no business being involved in what's going on. That's like some sort of, weird throwback idea that Jim Jordan in particular has. If you remember, he tried to interfere with Alvin Bragg in New York as well, that he has the right to somehow guide these people when they have these independent jobs that have absolutely nothing to do with him and have obviously more power than he has over these matters. Some of it is just pure PR. Some of it is to try to kiss the ass of Donald Trump in public, which is what they're perpetually doing, what MAGA Republicans in Congress are perpetually doing to impress Donald Trump. But some of it, I think, is the illegitimate idea that they have in their head that they can interfere with anybody. And as we saw in Wisconsin and Alabama, these Republicans who, of course, would appear to no longer believe in democracy, think that they can just sort of lock in their power forever by just making a decision to lock in their power forever without the people involved, without voters involved, or anyone else. But, Fani Willis ended that conversation. She's going to continue to ignore him because he should be ignored, and that's the way that'll play out.
What you're dealing with here, Reese, is an arrogant asshole in Congressman Jim Jordan. And again, these people will do whatever and say whatever to protect the grand dragon himself, the orange one.
Right. It's all kabuki theater. They don't have any power. And I'm glad that Fani Willis said, go to hell, bitch. You have no authority over here around these parts. If you want to make yourself useful, then why don't you investigate the actual crimes that are being committed against my office in terms of the threats? And so Jim Jordan, who has gotten away with heinous things himself, is just doing nothing but entertaining the base and further entrenching the Republican Party with Donald Trump. The Republican Party is going all in on Trump at a time where they should be trying to bolster an alternative to him. And that's just where they decided to throw their lot in. But I am so glad that Fani Willis is not backing down. She is not even showing them any kind of deference. There's no sir this and honorable this. It's just kiss my black ass.
And that should always be the response, Greg.
Yeah, I will give credit to Fani Willis. I was having this conversation with students today, and we were talking about Fani Willis in Georgia and, her use of RICO. This is the first big white fish in her scope. And students have some mixed opinions on that. But one thing is clear. She doesn't mix her words when she gives public statements. Some of the bits that I particularly enjoyed in the 9-page letter when she enumerates things in direct response to him. And I love what she said when she got to section 2C of her point-by-point refutation of her. She said, I'm going to give you an explanation of the basic obligations of a prosecutor. And the sentence she uses, she says, your letter makes it clear. Now, mind you, Jim Jordan has a JD from Capital Law School, which is down the street from where I went to law school at Ohio State. And he went to Ohio State, as Reese says, with a kind of checkered record there. But Fani Willis says, your letter makes it clear that you lack a basic understanding of the law, its practice, and the ethical obligations of attorneys generally and prosecutors specifically. Now, you saying to this guy with a JD, he said, your letter makes it clear that you don't understand. And then at the end, she gives a whole section, that last couple of pages, she said, here's some productive activity that you might be able to engage in. And then she enumerates what they do with the federal money, as you said, Roland. I mean, you're processing back rape kits. You're dealing with young people, trying to keep them out of the juvenile justice program. But the way she handled him was how you would talk to a child. And she did tell him to go to hell and to kiss her ass, but the way she did it over 9 pages, this is the Fani Willis that people in Atlanta know. It's just that they haven't always seen her train those guns on white people. And Jim Jordan, how'd you like it, brother? How did you like it?